Promo cards are something that Pokemon is constantly releasing, and with the massive amount of them, you might think none of them hold any value. But in fact, there are some that hold really strong value, especially from the Sword and Shield era. So today, let's take a look at the 10 most expensive Sword and Shield promo cards. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Sword and Shield promo cards. Actually, just the top 10 Sword and Shield promo cards. This list is a little bit surprising, and honestly, there's one that's in here that I didn't even know was released. So let's dive right in and take a closer look. All right, starting off at number 10, we've got a card that a lot of you are probably familiar with, and it is the Flareon from that Flareon Premium Collection. You know that box that came with the alternate arts of Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon with the Vs and VMAXs. So the Flareon V is actually in the top 10 list. I'm surprised this one out of all of them, but again, this is an awesome card. To be honest, I think all of them are amazing. I don't know if I could really choose a favorite. I feel like it is constantly changing every day. But this Flareon, of course, with the Eeveelution and alternate art hype, it's gone up drastically just over the last little while. In fact, in April, it was sitting at $22, and today it's up there at $53.50. You know, this card stayed really steady over the last year, basically. It didn't really have too many spikes. It was as low as like $15, now sitting over $50. I didn't realize this card had that much value. When these boxes came out, they were about $50. So the fact that one single card from that box pays for it is pretty amazing. Again, this growth has just been recent due to the alternate arts. I don't know if it'll stay in the top 10 because it's pretty available, whereas a lot of these other cards on the list aren't. But $53, solid contender for the top 10 spot. All right, next up is number 9. Remember just a minute ago when I said there was some cards on this list that I didn't even know were released? This is one of them, the Jirachi V promo. This is Sword and Shield $2.99. This card is going for just over $71. Which is pretty crazy for just your typical V. You know, a lot of these cards are like $1, you know, they're worth basically nothing. They come out in those collection boxes, you know, people aren't necessarily inclined to open collection boxes unless they have fire packs. But this card, how is it $71? That's because it was never released in North America. This Jirachi V box only came out in Europe. I think it was first released in France, and then Europe, never came to North America. I didn't even know this was released. I do remember looking at it now that I saw pictures of this, but it just never went anywhere. I'm sure the sealed product is worth a pretty penny since it was released only in Europe. There probably aren't a lot of them out there, and that's what makes this promo card so expensive. All right, next up, we have a Japanese card. This is the Cramorant from the Pokemon stamp box. This card is based off of the artwork from a stamp used in 1949 over in Japan. The original art was called Wild Geese Flying Under the Full Moon. Here it is up on the screen just as a little bit of a comparison. Now this wasn't the only promo card that came out in this box, and in fact it is the weaker one, but it takes the 8th spot in the top 10. It's an amazing card, I'm sure you've seen it before. Right now it's sitting at about $100, but it has been as high as about $120. I don't think this is a card that'll necessarily stand the test of time and remain in the top 10, but it is a very unique card. If it's something you want in your collection, it comes in a sealed product, the Japanese Pokemon stamp box, which retails for about $390. You can find it on eBay and I'm sure other sellers as well. All right, next up, we're getting into some of the staff promos. To start off, we've got the Snorlax staff promo from Vivid Voltage. There's going to be a few staff promos on this list because unfortunately after Vivid Voltage they were canceled. There was a bit of drama when Vivid Voltage came out in the beginning of the supply shortage and increase in demand, and a lot of stores were selling their staff promos for a ridiculous price. To counteract that, Pokemon canceled the program, but these were going on for a while. The first one was released back at the beginning of Diamond and Pearl. Now, as this program was canceled, they did continue making some staff promos. I've seen them kind of trickle out. Some Evolving Skies pre-release promos were given away at leagues with the staff stamp. I've also seen them for Silver Tempest and some of the newer sets. I don't know if it's something that is like renewed or continuing nowadays. Again, I don't really go to leagues or play the TCG too often these days, but this Snorlax staff promo, one of the last staff promos they released at the beginning of the Pokemon hype, it's going for $104. I don't know if this is an anomaly, but it dipped to 77 at some point over the last year. Might have just been one sale or something like that. But this card, awesome card, you know, nothing too special, but the fact that it was the last one and it was kind of hard to get these, it holds a bit of a premium over others. All right, next up we have the special delivery Pikachu. I think Pokemon did 3 of these, the special delivery Bidoof, Pikachu, and Charizard. The Pikachu is an awesome card. This is one, I don't have any of these special delivery cards in my collection. They were kind of tricky to get in Canada, I felt like. I also wasn't really focused on collecting these at the time. I do wish I had this in my collection because I think it is an awesome card. And actually, right now might be a good time to pick it up. It's been going down over the last year, starting one year at the high of $143, almost $144, and now dipping all the way down to $112. So this card has lost $30 of value over the last year. Looks like it's steadily dropping. It might hit sub 100 and drop down further on this list. But yeah, special delivery Pikachu, an awesome card, and I think it might be the best of all the special delivery cards. All right, next up we have another Vivid Voltage staff promo, and that's the Lugia. This card's awesome. I like it a lot more than the Snorlax, and I'm assuming a lot of other people will too, and that's why it's a little bit higher on the list. Right now it's going for $148, but it has hit a one-year high of $177, so it's a little bit down from what it has been in the past. Again, this card holds that special value because it was really hard to get your hands on, and I think the hardcore collectors were going for all these staff promos at the time, especially this one and the one we're going to see later, the Charizard. Next off, we have the special delivery Bidoof. This card is hilarious. It has priority over the special delivery Charizard. That card was printed a lot. This card was not, and it shows by the value. Again, right now, I think some of these promo cards, especially these special delivery cards and cards people have been paying attention to over the last couple of years, have dipped because of the alternate art craze, all that stuff going on with the Moonbreon, the Gengar, all that stuff. We talk about it, every video I post basically. But this card has dropped pretty drastically from its one-year high. It was going for $300 back in September, and right now it's going for $257. Pretty significant price drop. Again, this was a pretty difficult card to get. They did their little mail-out promos. You buy something, whatever, you get this card. Again, I was kind of slacking on that stuff. I didn't pay attention. Whenever Pokemon sends me emails, they seem to just disappear, but it is what it is. Awesome card. It has pretty strong value, way more than the Charizard. Special delivery Charizard is pretty cheap. So this Bidoof, it is special delivery Charizard. He's just carrying a Bidoof. Awesome card. Love it. And it's sitting steady in the top 10. Alright, remember that Cramorant from the Pokemon Stamp box? There was another promo that came out in that box, and it's this Pikachu. Just like that Cramorant, this card is based off of a piece of art used on a stamp in Japan back in 1948. That piece of art was called Beauty Looking Back. I'll have it again here pop up on the screen for comparison. A pretty iconic painting. I've seen it in the past, studying art history and that sort of stuff back in high school and college. This card is amazing. It's number 3 on the top 10 list for most expensive promo card from the Sword and Shield era. I think this one's really iconic. When it first came out, I was seeing it everywhere, and I still see it from time to time popping up on Instagram and whatever. This card's really nice. It's going for a lot more than that Cramorant. It seems like typically it's selling in the $200 range. I've seen sales, as low as $200, but I've also seen them up $325, $290, stuff like that, but it seems to be going for a little bit less now and again. Again, the box that this card comes in is going for about $380 on eBay. There's a lot of them for sale right now in that $380 range. You might even be able to get it cheaper somewhere else. I'm not too sure. I don't collect Japanese product. But yeah, this card seems to be selling relatively consistently in that high 200 range. All right, next up, the big staff promo that everyone was going crazy about. That's the Vivid Voltage Charizard staff promo. This card is going for a lot right now, $375, but that is actually lower from the one-year high. I'm seeing data on TCG Player saying this card hit $680. Now, this is one of those cards that's a little bit difficult to find raw. I'm seeing lots of PSA 10s selling all over the place here, anywhere from like $750 to $1,000. And on eBay right now, I can only find one raw copy listed, and it is for $680. So this is a heavy hitter of a card. It looks like somebody bought it on TCG Player kind of recently for $500, but that's the only sale data I can find. There is only one that has been posted. I don't know if that's since they did all that updating or what. But anyways, this Charizard, hype card. It's an awesome one. Even the regular version is cool. I'm a big fan of these stamped cards. I don't really care about the staff stamp. I get that's like an extra rarity. There's way less of them out there. But I really like these stamped promo cards, and I think I'm going to go back and start a little bit of a collection, try to get all the Sword and Shield ones that I missed. All right, and the final card, number 1, is the Champions Festival World Championship 2022 staff promo. That's a mouthful to say. This card is kind of all over the place in value again. You know, it's one that's not sold on TCG Player too often. In fact, it's kind of hard to find sold listings on eBay as well. You know, it seems to be consistently moving on eBay at, you know, around $475, $500, and the PSA 10s selling for upwards of 1,000. This is one of those cards that I feel like there aren't going to be a lot of raw copies available. A lot of people are going to want to grade it just to get that premium at the 10 or to get it authenticated because it is such a special card. You know, these were just given out at the World Championship Tournament for employees, you know, people who worked there. I'm surprised so many of them get sold out. You know, I'd want to, you know, keep these, collect them. But again, if it's worth so much money, if I could sell this card for $500 and I would just work the event, I might rather sell it because I already have the memory of being there. And again, there are regular versions of this card, so if you have that staff promo, it gives you that premium. It is a more limited item, and it is way more sought after by the big collectors out there. Alright guys, that's it for today's video, a top 10 list on the Sword and Shield promos. How do you feel about that Jirachi? Did you know there was a Jirachi promo card? Honestly, I had no clue until I looked at this list and was like, why is this regular V card sitting here? I thought there was some sort of anomaly on TCG Player, but no, it was so limited that it has made it into the top 10. Alright guys, one more thing, if you enjoyed the video, consider hitting subscribe. We hit 1,500 as of recording this video. I hit it like an hour ago. Super stoked on that. I'm hoping we can continue to grow. I'm going to start pumping out some more content, getting some openings coming up in the future. We'll see. June should have a lot in store for us here on the channel. All right, that's it. I'm getting out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.